The special stages in this game are so bad that past Team Rose, I literally just exited out of them the instant I got the chance. Yeah, I couldn't even beat all of them with Team Rose. Just a heads up. This mission is pretty manageable. There's actually more than 3 of the gold turtles in the level. And even if that wasn't the case, 3 is such a tiny number, considering the amount of objects that Team Chaotix normally has to find, that this mission is really manageable. The level design normally just leads you directly into them, so you don't have to worry about exploring constantly, which is especially good since the camera, again, it only rotates like left and right. It doesn't really allow you to move it around up and down like in Wind Waker. I mean, I know I'm comparing a Zelda game to a Sonic game, but still. The camera isn't always the best for searching for things, but it's still a million times better than it would have been trying to do it in SA2, where the camera was just refusing to let you backtrack at all. You know what's really great about this? Well, like, first off, okay, here's where I finally discovered on my own that your partners can actually attack stuff for you automatically. I was preparing to defeat this robot myself, but look at that! SBO defeated it for me. And that is surprisingly impressive AI for a partner. Because I get the feeling that most games, when you have a partner with you that can attack, the partner isn't smart enough to attack enemies on his own, let alone attack the way that you do. I remember Sword of Mana, which is an RPG that has a partner with you most of the time, and they can attack the enemy too. And you can change their AI so that they can be either a coward or running right up to an enemy, and they can either attack with magic or weapons, and you can even make it so that like they're half magic, half weapons and stuff. It's pretty cool. But the stupid thing is they never run around. They always just walk really slowly, and they walk step at a time at that. Like, they walk so slowly towards the enemies. At the very least, once they reach the enemies, they immediately they spam the weapon attack, which is good. I mean, obviously you shouldn't be using magic because they take forever to use the magic. They just, like, you have to hold the R button for a while, and that's how you do it. I don't know how I managed to have 2 Sword of Mana tangents in Sonic Heroes of all things. But it's true, like, the point is the partner AI is not very good in that game. They don't, I mean, how hard would it have been to program them to just run up to every enemy they see and just start mashing the attack button? Instead they attack so slowly. Oh yeah, this, I had no idea how I was supposed to, like, I was undershooting that, and nothing was happening. Am I expected to know that I have to walk into the button to press it? Is that what I'm expected to do? There were no enemies nearby to defeat, so I just used Team Blast and hoped to God that it actually got rid of the cage, and that the cage wouldn't just be some stupid barrier, and thankfully the game actually had mercy. And that's one of the great things about this mission. You can Team Blast through cages just fine. I remember there is one turtle robot in this level that I would have never gotten the idea to go to where it is if Vector hadn't told me to go to a lower area. Because I think it was the middle one. Because I remember being in a section like this, an octagonal section, when I found the last one. It is, like, I can't believe I'm complaining about this, because normally it's a great thing that missions in Team Chaotix, and the instant that you find everything you're expected to find. Because there are other missions in Sonic games and stuff where you find everything, and then you have to go to a goal ring to deposit everything. Like in Casinopolis, where the goal is to get 400 rings, but if you get hit between getting 400 rings and depositing them to vault, then you have to start all over again. Obviously you can deposit rings before you reach the 400 limit, but that's not the point. So it's really good that the Chaotix missions end the instant that you achieve the goal, rather than expecting you to go all the way to a goal ring, when the levels in this game kind of last long enough as it is. But the reason I was complaining was because, well, for the people who actually care about ranks for some reason in Sonic games, it would be nice if you had, like, you could make bonus points with the Chaotix mission by finding every single thing, rather than just the minimum amount that beats the mission. Like, if you could find all of the turtle robots in this level rather than just 3, that could guarantee you an A rank. Like how you could get a guaranteed A rank in SA2 if you found every single ring in the level and held on to it. Which I guess is a test of your skill, but it's also a test of your kleptomania. And I guess it is a test of your knowledge of level design, but the fact remains that when I think a skilled player of a platformer, I don't think someone who obsessively goes through the entire level and does everything, because it doesn't take skill to do that. It takes skill to not die. I guess it takes skill to not get hit and lose your rings throughout the entire level, but the point is, when I think of speed in Sonic, I think of completing the level quickly. I don't think of collecting rings and holding on to them. That is a part of skill, but it's not what I think of when I think of a really skilled Sonic player. I think rank should only be based on speed. Advance 3 had the best ranking system ever because it was only based on speed. You knew from reading a guide that all you had to do to get a gold medal was to complete a level in under a certain amount of time. That was literally it. You didn't have to worry about rings or defeating enemies, which definitely is not a test of your skill. Anyone can defeat an enemy in a Sonic game. You might get hit while doing that, but still. And isn't the Team Blast pretty kooky? I mean, it makes sense that they're in a band because Vector was originally meant to play in a band with Sonic on the sound test of Sonic 1. That's where Vector actually originated. He dates back pretty far, actually. And Charmy is also not, like, introduced in Knuckles Chaotix. Like, he was actually introduced in some obscure Japanese manga along with Amy. And Espio... yeah, Espio was the one character who was originally created for Knuckles Chaotix. I don't understand why these characters are fighting. I'll show this more... I'll show this cutscene for it, not fast-forwarded in the Team Dark playthrough. Yeah, this is why his tornado attack is so stupid. Look at how horrible the range on it is. I actually died because the range was so atrocious. And thank God that you can actually air dash in the middle of this animation, even if you got knocked off of the tiny arena. But yeah, I don't understand why they couldn't have just talked it out. I don't know what Rouge's problem with him was, aside from the fact that I guess she was judging Vector by the fact that he had a gold chain necklace and thus looked like a thug. And since she's a jewel thief and a criminal, she probably has a lot of bad experiences with thugs. Like, she's the kind of hypocrite who thinks that she's fine being a criminal but hates other criminals. I don't understand why Charmy had to say that beginning line, the intro cutscene. He's just being annoying for no reason. It's just a joke that isn't funny and doesn't contribute anything and just stops the pacing. It's Color's level of humor. But, yeah. The point is that that cutscene was stupid. This mission, I've heard horror stories of this mission, or at the very least I've heard people complain about it, but this was suspiciously easy for me. The goal is to get a large amount of rings. I forget how many it was, I think 300. But surprisingly, I didn't even need to go to the VIP pinball table room where you can get a lot of rings that apparently people other than the Chaotix can get into, probably by using glitches. But I never actually showed off that VIP table because I completed the mission so quickly. And it's crazy too because not only was this literally my first time ever playing the mission, and I completed it easily the second time on the GameCube too, But there's also the fact that, well, I don't have the best of luck with slot machines in video games. But I use the slot machines, and I also use the Team Blast. That's another thing. The great thing about the Team Blast for the Chaotix, I don't know if I mentioned it already, is that you can make so much rings off of the Team Blast because it applies a ring multiplier. And if you use it around the enemies, if you have a lot of enemies around and you use the Team Blast, you can actually get a huge amount of rings. You can get like hundreds of rings. And that's a great way to grind for lives in places like Robot Storm and Robot Carnival, because you can just spam Team Blast, and the amount of rings you'll get from it will actually allow you to use another Team Blast right away as soon as the cooldown period ends. What I was trying to do there was a glitch where you can actually you can actually thunder shoot your partner into a boost pad on the pinball table, and that will send your partner into the slot machine and trap them there. I think you have to be flying, like hovering over the slot machine while your partner's trapped inside, and you'll just keep getting rings forever. And you can even walk away from the slot machine and you'll just keep getting rings, and you can use that glitch to easily beat this mission really quickly. But I couldn't do it because I couldn't really tell visually where the boost pads were, and aiming with a thunder shoot is not exactly the best thing ever. So, but I've seen some crazy glitches in Casino Park. Like, I watched a speedrun where someone just bounced off the pinball table and flew high up in the air and beat the level in like over a minute. And it kind of sucked for me because I looked up that speedrun trying to figure out how I was supposed to get past that X sign door, because I didn't know that you could pull stuff. I didn't know you could pull switches on the wall with tails. I thought you could only do it with knuckles, and so I was completely stumped and thought I'd gotten to a door that only a certain team could get through, and I thought they'd put that there like too high for me to reach on purpose. But yeah, see, I'm pretty sure that I'm throwing him into the boost pad there, but nothing's happening. Obviously, I'm using the infinite flight code, because there's no way I would have been able to fly for that long otherwise. But yeah, this mission was surprisingly easy. Although, it's really stupid how this mission takes place in this level and not Bingo Highway, where earning rings is a lot easier because of the bingos. Like, you can get over 200 rupees easily in Bingo Highway. I'm convinced that I lucked out. Like, both times. Like, this is the level where they should have had the 300 ring mission. Okay, so I forgot to complain about the previous mission objective with Eggman. Again, how does that help Eggman at all? And how is that testing out their luck? And I can't imagine, like, I can't imagine the Chaotix to be lucky anyways. The way they're usually portrayed, they kind of bumble around. They're more of a comedy relief trio. Even Espio, like, especially in Sonic X, he was, from what I've heard, because I've never watched Sonic X, I really wish I did as a kid, but for some reason, I saw an episode with Shadow in it, and I guess I got too intimidated because it wasn't the beginning of the episode, and I didn't know how to properly follow TV shows from start to finish back then, so I gave up, and I really wish that I just watched the whole thing. Even though I know, humans and Sonic, therefore it's awful. But yeah, the point is, in Sonic X, Espio is portrayed as he thought that he was the best, but he bumbled around too. So I can't really imagine, like, if collecting 300 rings with the slot machines was supposed to be a test of their luck, ignoring the fact that they don't just use slot machines anyways, I don't think it's even an accurate test because they're not lucky anyways. And even if they failed the test of luck, then what? What's the point of Eggman testing them to begin with if they're literally his only hope? He doesn't have anyone else to save him. Is he expecting them to go to someone else and hope that they'll also be fooled by his helium speech? is, like, there is only hope, and he's making them waste time with a bunch of stupid missions that suck. At the very least, you don't have to collect all, like there's more than 10 chips in the level. So that's really good. Like, I call bullshit on the fact that you're expected to somehow precisely maneuver yourself into chips on pinball tables of all things, and even the bingo highways, which are much better than pinball tables, but still bad in a way. But there are more than 10 chips, and not all of them are on those pinball things, so if you miss, like the thing is, obviously the chips can be lost forever, because if you pass by them on the highways and the pinball tables, you might end up never being able to collect them. So I guess it's kind of good that the ranking doesn't get you an automatic A rank if you get every single one. But the point is that it is surprisingly merciful. The level design is so linear, it just leads you right into them. It just practically hands them to you. But again, how does this help Eggman at all? And it's not like the other teams had to collect 10 casino chips to get past the level. So why is Eggman acting like they absolutely need to do this? Not to mention that he also said they had to go undercover in this place when this isn't a stealth mission. Thank God, because that would be pretty annoying. Like, I don't think the stealth missions are the worst thing ever, for the most part. We'll get to it. It depends. There are some, like, extra missions you can do where your stealth missions in areas where normally you aren't supposed to be stealth in, like Seaside Hill, and then it can be kind of obnoxious. But yeah, I just don't understand why everyone else didn't also need to collect casino chips, unless Team Chaotix was the first team chronologically to go through this place. And I'm not really sure what, like, did they go through every level first? I mean, they had to have, if this was the first level, if they were the first people who went through this level, they had to keep it consistent. So, like I would normally imagine Team Dark being chronologically the first to go through every level. Or maybe Team Rose. Like, the thing is, they all have different level design. Anyways. Yeah, see, I've got over 231 rings already. I don't understand why this level couldn't have been the 300 rings mission. I think a lot less people would have complained then. I forgot to mention it in Power Plant, but I really don't like the music of Power Plant, because I don't really like the instrumentation of it. I get the same feeling from it that I do of modern Seaside Hill. It just feels like it's trying way too hard to be an electric guitar. And I see this as a huge rock fan. It gets obnoxious even for me. Like, I don't listen to music that sounds like modern Seaside Hill in its instrumentation. I guess it's just distorting electric guitars too much, or whatever it's trying to do with it. I don't like it. Still like the music of this place though. It's pretty badass. So the voice of Vector in this game is Mark Biaggi. And, well, I think I went over all the voices for the Chaotix in Rush, but I'll go over them again briefly. Vector has the best voice in this game. Like, in terms of professional voice acting, he does the best job. He's pretty gruff. God. See, I had to be so close to that flower that I literally fell off. It's a good thing that there was a platform for me to land on. But, yeah. The next two Vector voices are so bad, it's good. Vector in this game is actually competent in his voice. SBO's voice is actually Bill Kirkery. And, well, Bill and Emily Kirkery are, well, SBO and Charmy. So basically, crazily enough, and this is gonna sound crazy, SBO is Tails and Charmy's dad. I'm talking about the voice actors here, because the voice actor in this game for SBO He makes them sound way too gruff and edgy, like, evil must die. It's really cringeworthy. But the voice for Espio in this game is actually the father of the voice for Tails and Charmy in this game. So, hello nepotism. It's especially glaring because Espio and Tails have terrible voices in this game, and Charmy's is also pretty annoying. Although, not as bad as the next two voices. Like, I swear he has a New York accent in Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, this is why the special stages suck. I'll show them not fast-forwarded, probably in the Team Rose playthrough, if anything. Long story short, they control like utter ass, and if you don't complete the stage really quickly, then you're pretty much guaranteed to not ever beat it. And guess what? My computer froze! My computer froze when the time up screen happened. Well, not my computer, my emulator. And it actually gave me a huge amount of error messages for some reason. Like invalid code over and over and over and over again to no end. And guess what? I hadn't used save states for a long time. You know, I was pretty suspicious of how easily the missions for the pinball levels had gone over for me. So I guess that was my punishment. Thankfully, the last save state I made was in the middle of Casino Park with them. So I didn't have to redo too much. It was just pretty annoying.